In 2008, Twitter's servers were literally on fire. The entire platform crashed during Steve Jobs' biggest keynote. Users couldn't tweet for 6 straight days. The company was hemorrhaging millions with zero revenue, and they had exactly 48 hours of cash left before permanent shutdown. The founders were using their personal credit cards just to keep the lights on. This was just crisis number 2. Twitter would face death 4 more times, each worse than the last. Yet somehow, this failing startup that couldn't handle 1,000 users eventually sold for $44 billion. This is that impossible story. In fact, Twitter came dangerously close to extinction. Not once, not twice, but 5 separate times. Each crisis should have killed the platform forever. Yet somehow, it survived to become worth billions. This is the untold story of Twitter's death-defying journey from a failing startup bleeding money to a social media empire that changed the world. By the end of this video, you'll understand how a company on life support became one of the most influential platforms in history. Picture this. It's 2007, and Twitter is still just a curious experiment. Jack Dorsey and his team had built what they thought was a simple messaging service. But they had no idea what was coming. The platform was built on Ruby on Rails, a framework perfect for rapid development, but absolutely terrible for scale. Think of it like building a race car with bicycle parts. It worked fine when a few hundred people were tweeting, but as soon as thousands joined, everything collapsed. Enter the fail whale. The fail whale was first introduced in 2008 and quickly gained recognition as Twitter's symbol of technical failure. Between server overload and scheduled maintenance, the site was offline for almost 6 days total that year, according to Pingdom, a service that tracks website performance. Things were not much better in 2008, when the site crashed during Steve Jobs' keynote at Macworld in January. Imagine launching a rocket and having it explode on the launch pad. Except this happened almost daily. Users would try to tweet and instead see a cartoon whale being lifted by birds with the message, "Twitter is overcapacity." The technical team was in panic mode. Every time they fixed one problem, 2 more appeared. The combination of a monolithic architecture and an overloaded MySQL system created numerous bottlenecks, leading to the recurring outages symbolized by the fail whale. This wasn't just embarrassing, it was existential. Venture capitalists were questioning whether Twitter could ever handle real traffic. Competitors were circling like vultures. The company was burning through cash with nothing to show for it but angry users and memes about their failures. But technical problems were just the beginning. While Twitter was struggling to keep the lights on, they faced an even bigger problem. They had no business model whatsoever. 0 revenue. Not a single dollar coming in. Yet they were spending millions on servers, engineers, and office space. It was like running a restaurant that gave away free meals while paying rent, staff, and suppliers. The 2008 financial crisis made everything worse. Venture funding dried up overnight. Companies that might have acquired Twitter were cutting costs, not making risky investments. Twitter's burn rate was astronomical, and their runway was measured in weeks, not months. Co-founder Biz Stone later revealed they came within days of shutting down completely. The team was working without paychecks, using personal credit cards to keep servers running. They were living on ramen noodles and hope. This is where most startups die, not with a bang, but with a whimper, as the bank account hits 0. Twitter was 48 hours away from that fate. Surviving the financial crisis should have been Twitter's happily ever after moment. Instead, it triggered their 3rd near-death experience, complete leadership chaos. Jack Dorsey, the visionary founder, was forced out as CEO. The board had lost confidence in his ability to scale the company. But his replacement, Dick Costolo, inherited a company in complete disarray. The engineering team was demoralized. Key executives were jumping ship. The product had stagnated while competitors like Facebook were innovating rapidly. Twitter had survived technically and financially, only to face an identity crisis. What was Twitter supposed to be? A news platform, a social network, a real-time communication tool? Nobody knew, and this confusion was paralyzing decision-making. Meanwhile, users were getting frustrated. The platform was still plagued by outages, spam was rampant, and new features were practically non-existent. Twitter was bleeding users to more stable platforms. The company was like a ship without a captain in stormy seas. Every department was pulling in different directions, and the result was organizational paralysis that nearly destroyed them from within. By 2013, Twitter had finally solved their technical problems and established leadership. They went public with great fanfare, raising $1.8 billion in their IPO. Success at last, right? Wrong. They immediately hit what Silicon Valley calls the growth wall. User growth flatlined. Monthly active users peaked and started declining. The stock price collapsed from $74 to under $20. Wall Street analysts were calling Twitter a failed platform. The problem was fundamental. Twitter was too complicated for normal people. While tech enthusiasts loved the real-time, unfiltered nature of the platform, regular users found it overwhelming and confusing. Facebook was gaining 1 billion users, while Twitter struggled to explain what a hashtag was. The 140-character limit, once seen as innovative, now seemed arbitrary and limiting. Competitors were eating their lunch with more intuitive interfaces and better recommendation algorithms. Internally, the mood was grim. Employee morale plummeted as the stock price crashed. Talented engineers were leaving for hot startups. The media was writing obituaries for the platform. Twitter was becoming a case study in how to squander a first-mover advantage. They had created an entire new category of communication, only to watch others do it better. Just when things seemed to stabilize, Twitter faced its most dangerous threat yet, becoming irrelevant. The platform had become a breeding ground for harassment, misinformation, and toxic behavior. Major celebrities were leaving. Advertisers were pulling out. Governments were threatening regulation. Twitter's reputation shifted from revolutionary communication platform to digital hellscape. The brand was so toxic that employees were embarrassed to put it on their resumes. User engagement was declining despite efforts to increase the character limit and add new features. TikTok was capturing younger audiences. Instagram was dominating visual content. LinkedIn was winning professional networking. Twitter was being squeezed from all sides, losing users to platforms that were simply more enjoyable to use. The company tried everything: live video, stories features, subscription models, but nothing worked. By 2021, Twitter's valuation had stagnated, while other social media companies reached trillion-dollar market caps. The company that had once changed how humans communicate was becoming a footnote in tech history. Then came the plot twist nobody saw coming. Elon Musk. In April 2022, the world's richest man offered to buy Twitter for $44 billion, a massive premium over its market value. Wall Street was shocked. Tech analysts called it madness. But here's the thing. Musk saw what others missed. Despite all its problems, Twitter had become the digital town square. Presidents announced policy on Twitter. Wars were fought with tweets. Breaking news happened on Twitter first. The platform that had nearly died 5 times had achieved something invaluable. It had become essential infrastructure for human communication. Even with all its flaws, Twitter was irreplaceable. Musk's acquisition wasn't just about money. It was recognition that Twitter had survived every existential threat to become genuinely indispensable. Under Musk's ownership, Twitter underwent radical changes. He fired 75% of the staff, changed the name to X, and completely reimagined the business model. Revenue streams that had eluded the company for 15 years suddenly materialized. The subscription model finally worked. Advertising became profitable again. The platform that had hemorrhaged money for years was suddenly generating billions in value. Most importantly, Musk proved that Twitter's near-death experiences had actually made it stronger. Each crisis had forced the company to evolve, adapt, and find new ways to survive. The platform that should have died 5 times had developed an almost supernatural ability to reinvent itself. Twitter's journey from failing startup to $44 billion acquisition is the ultimate survival story. 5 times the company faced extinction. 5 times it found a way to survive. The technical disasters taught them to build better infrastructure. The financial crisis forced them to find real revenue streams. The leadership chaos made them more resilient. The growth wall pushed them to expand globally. The relevance threat made them essential. Every near-death experience was actually a re-evolution catalyst. Twitter didn't just survive, it became anti-fragile, getting stronger from every challenge. Today, whether you call it Twitter or X, the platform reaches hundreds of millions of people daily. It shapes elections, starts movements, and breaks news faster than any traditional media. The company that was 48 hours from bankruptcy now processes billions of tweets per day. The app that couldn't handle a few thousand users now hosts real-time conversations between world leaders. This is what survival looks like in the digital age. Not avoiding failure, but learning to dance with it. If this incredible survival story blew your mind, smash that like button and let me know in the comments which of Twitter's 5 near-death experiences shocked you the most. Was it the servers literally catching fire? The 48-hour cash countdown? Or Elon's insane $44 billion bet? Subscribe for more unbelievable business stories that sound too crazy to be true, and hit that notification bell